This episode of the Demonic Compendium contains spoilers for the following games. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome to a slaying new episode of the Demonic Compendium, the show where I discuss the mythology, design, and game history of your favorite Megami Tensei demons. Today marks the official worldwide release date of Persona 5 Tactica, and so I've chosen to talk about this very specific being. So saddle up and grab your spears, because today I'm talking about Valkyrie. Valkyries are female figures in Norse mythology that serve the king god Odin. In some scriptures, the Valkyries are his daughters, but more commonly they seem to just be eager helpers. Supposedly there are only 9 Valkyries, but other tales speak of far more than that. Their title comes from the Norse word Valkyria and roughly translates as choosers of the slain. The main task given to the Valkyries is that they're to appear before recently deceased warriors who fell in combat and recruit the most worthy to come with them to Valhalla. The troops that the Valkyries bring to Odin's Hall will be the army that fights when Ragnarok comes. Aside from being powerful warriors in their own right, the Valkyries may help the soldiers' spirits relax by pouring them mead or servicing them romantically. Valkyrie's compendium entry from Persona 5 Strikers refers to them as choosers of the slain in Norse lore. Armed with shining armor and swords, they look for brave warriors to take to Valhalla so that they may fight in Ragnarok. Now, truthfully, most of Valkyrie's compendium entries from the other games are very similar to this, but the reason why I picked Strikers is because it's one of the only ones that specifically says swords, which we can clearly see Valkyrie has 2 of. Most other compendium entries, even for games that came later, say that they have spears. Both swords and spears are accurate to the mythology. I just think it's weird how many compendium entries talk about them having a weapon that we can clearly see she doesn't have. Which helps me segue into saying, design-wise, the Valkyrie is depicted as a beautiful woman on horseback with 2 swords and a shield. The wings on her mask ties into the mythology, as Valkyries may be associated with ravens or swans. An early sketch of Valkyrie in Shin Megami Tensei If showed her looking a bit different and without her trusty steed, but the chainmail-wearing warrior figure we met in Soul Hackers has remained a consistent design for her ever since. Valkyrie does have a Devil Children design, which also shows her with a sword over a spear, and she's got a crop top and either wings coming out of her head or her hair is the wings. I'm not 100% positive on this one. As far as game history goes, Valkyrie doesn't usually play big roles in the main plots of games, but does frequently have some sort of in-game role. For example, every single game she's in that has special conversations, she has one of them. In Shin Megami Tensei 9, she has a conversation with Freya, but admittedly I couldn't find much on the specific details of that one. In both Persona 2 Innocent Sin and Persona 2 Eternal Punishment, Valkyrie has a conversation with her master, Odin. In the latter title, it's a dumb conversation where she dumbly gives Odin some dumb rock she found. If I sound a bit bitter about this one, it's because I wasted 3 hours trying to get this conversation to activate. Eventually, I just said screw it, but I'm showing this footage just to show you that, like, I have Odin, I was fighting Valkyrie, don't know why it wasn't working for me. It's very dumb. In Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne, the Demi-Fiend can obtain Valkyrie by evolving a Dis at a high enough level. Valkyrie has a unique recruitment ability called Soul Recruit, which invites a demon to join in Odin's name. And Valkyrie has a special conversation with Loki, who playfully teases her about spending time with the Demi-Fiend because she likes him, and warning her of another instance where a Valkyrie fell in love with a superpowered human. While no direct names are mentioned here, Loki is likely referring to the tragic tale of Sigurd and Brynhildr. Brynhildr actually has made one Megami Tensei appearance, and that's in Majin Tensei 2 Spiral Nemesis. I should probably talk about those games more often than I do. And in Shin Megami Tensei 5, Valkyries appear as loyal minions of Odin, who is one of the head honchos of Bethel. She has a unique conversation with Odin, where they talk about how the Nahobino's efforts have provided the perfect distraction for the Norse forces to recruit souls for Valhalla. Dudes, I can hear you, I'm standing right here. She also has another conversation with Loki, with this one not going as smoothly, as Loki just mocks her for being a grave-robbing gopher for Odin, which he takes personally for some bizarre reason. Lastly, a dying Valkyrie gives the Nahobino the request He of 100 Hands, where she requests that we help kill the this guy. So we do that, and then she rewards us, and then she dies. Oh yeah, and in the Shin Megami Tensei 4 games, Valkyrie evolves from Kelpie, which I always thought was kind of weird, because that raises the question of how much of this demon is just the horse part? Like, does the woman part grow out of the horse? I have no idea. In the mobile title, Shin Megami Tensei Liberation D2, Valkyrie appears a few times in the main story as a boss demon. First, at the very end of Chapter 2 as the main demon of this jerkbag, Masahiro, and then later again as a boss in Chapter 4. Players can also fuse Valkyrie into the unique War God Sword in the Alterworld story. Surf and other members of the Embryon fight a Valkyrie as a mini-boss in Digital Devil Saga 1, and there's not much to say about this member of the Solids except that they refer to Janana as the Thong Chick, which, I mean, I get it. In Devil Children White Book, Masaki can recruit a Valkyrie by completing an optional side quest where he returns her stolen armor. I don't have footage of that one. While this one isn't really a game role, Valkyrie does appear in the manga Persona 2 Sumitobatsu as the persona of the antagonist Rhea. While this manga does have many original persona designs, Valkyrie in this manga seems to be based on her Soul Hackers design rather than either of her Persona 2 designs. In Persona 3, Makoto can cast the fusion spell Valhalla by having both Valkyrie and Odin. This move grants you full invincibility for one turn, but after that turn is over, yeah, it's not the greatest move, honestly. Casting this spell is one of Elizabeth's requests, and afterwards she warns you about the dangers of immortality, and gives you a warm, comfy jacket. Valkyrie appears in Persona 5 under the shadow name Funerary Warrior, but doesn't really do much else in that game. However, Valkyrie does have a small role in Persona 5 Strikers. Not only does a large Valkyrie appear in the Osaka jail, the Funerary Warriors are part of the request A Thief's Challenge Skull, which requires killing 20 Naga and 5 Valkyries. Completing this quest for the first time unlocks the level cap for bond skills. And lastly, that brings us to today's game, Persona 5 Tactica, where I can absolutely confirm that Valkyrie is in the game, because she appeared in the first trailer for it, and honestly, that's all I really know. I didn't get an advanced copy this time, but she's probably used for like a weapon fusion or something. Let me know in the comments. And so there you have it, Valkyrie, the overeager offerer of Odin's outset orders. Did I leave out something you thought was important? Was I just plain wrong about something? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to let me know who you'd like to see me talk about in future episodes. That's going to do it for this episode of the Demonic Compendium, and I will see you next time. But be careful while you rest that a demon doesn't take over your body.